Cool. Okay, we are ready to rock and roll. So thanks everybody for joining us for our workshop today. Today you're going to meet two folks in the field of cybersecurity, and they are going to talk about how they got to where they are, what they do, and then we're just going to open up for discussion. If you have any Q&A, you are free to ask whatever you want. And then at 6 p.m., we are going to start the workshop where you will learn how to play a capture the flag and hack a website, and then how to add that experience and any future experiences to your resume to help you make your resume more tech focused. So I'm gonna open the floor to Taz to introduce herself, and then SX will introduce herself, and then we will get started. So go ahead, whenever you are ready.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. I'm Taz. I got my whole government on here, but it's fine. My full name is Tazeen, and I'm very thankful to be here. Allison, thank you for having me, and everyone for being here tonight. I'm dedicated to Trader Joe's. I live in New York, and I'm in a Trader Joe's parking lot right now, but today was your girl's only day off to be able to do this, but I'm so thankful, so don't mind the background. So my story into security is a little unorthodox, and so I'll start with what I'm doing today as a passion, and what I represent first is my organization, Cyber Collective. We are a consumer-focused cybersecurity and research organization that are rooted in centering marginalized voices in the data ethics dialogue. We have been hosting weekly workshops this past quarter, and just paused for a really big, exciting launch that we have in January that I'm so pumped about. I work with 5 incredible women, and so that's the passion, and where I do a lot of the impact work that I don't always find in the security industry, because the security industry is very old white male, and it's focused on enterprises, and enterprise security isn't always impactful, I guess, for me. So during the day, I consult at an organization called Morgan Franklin Consulting. I am one of the senior directors there, managing the team of our service, like all of our services and delivery consultants. So I oversee all of the incident response, the application security, the governance, risk, and compliance. And then my personal specialty in security is within product architecture and compliance methodology. So all of the different policies that exist, I help implement those policies for enterprise clients. It's not as sexy, as Cyber Collective is, I'll say, but it does pay the bills, and I'm learning a ton. So yeah, that's a little long-winded version of me. And SX, I can pass the mic to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Taz, for sharing. And thank you to the very sweet Allison for inviting me to speak. When Allison says jump, I say hi, because I love her. And so my name is SX Noir, and I am the thought leader of sex technology. I work on the intersection of sex work and sex tech. So that is my entrance into the space. My career is quite interesting. I'm currently the president of the Women of Sex Technology, an organization of femmes and non-binary people who are navigating the intersections of sex and tech. And we will be opening up membership very, very soon. So keep up to date with that, because we're very excited. We want all of you all to join if you're interested. And so my work has primarily been built on activism within New York City, primarily around sex workers. I have done work around FOSTA, SESTA, and the Earn It Act, which is legislation in America that is sex negative inherently, that impacts all of us as civilians, but originally targeted sex workers or those navigating the sex trade in some capacity. I am a podcast host of the Thought Leader Pod, and that is THOT, where we navigate, again, the intersections of sex and tech, dating, security, privacy, etc. There's no new episodes on that now because of coronavirus, but there's going to be some coming soon. I'm also just doing lots of organizing within the sex worker movement of New York City between art projects, mutual aid, etc., which has been very time consuming. And so I don't have a technical background. I have a human background. I have a people background. And I fancy myself to be a tech philosopher one day, but essentially I just very much connect with how humans understand technology and how our legislation and policy and just overall shame, stigma, and oppression interact with digital space. I don't, like I said, I don't have much of a technical background, so I don't have much to say about that, but I'm constantly learning and hoping to know more. Yes, I will share the podcast link. Y'all should rate and review and subscribe or all those things. And yeah, so that's kind of it. Right now, I'm actually relocated in Missouri for the moment, which has been really refreshing. And so I'm really happy to take time and be here with you all today.
SX, can you kind of talk about your journey and how, even though you don't have a non-technical background, that you, by putting yourself out there and just understanding that like you don't need to be a cybersecurity expert to have a say in how products harm people and how people's safety is put at risk, has allowed you to connect with all of these really amazing people in the industry, and also, you know, speak at some of the top cybersecurity conferences in the world?
Oh, well, my journey, yes, I'm wearing my my Future of Sex Tech Hackathon shirt today. I just happened to be wearing it. That's where I started everything, which is kind of crazy to think about. In November of 2018 was my journey into the sex tech world. So I've always been very interested in psychology and human sexuality and just how sex interacts with humans. It's like fundamentally every single thing we do. And so I remember growing up, there was one of my friends who sent a naked picture to someone, and it was like this whole thing, and it was shared online, and it was all of these just weird dynamics between physical and digital space around sex that I just didn't understand. And as I got older, I naturally gravitated toward very kind of badass entrepreneurial sex positive women who were sex workers, dominatrixes, escorts, sugar babies, cam girls, the whole nine. And I started asking them how they experienced digital space and how a lot of their stories were, well, it's violent for me. It's not designed for me. I can't navigate the virtual economy as in fintech. I am shadow banned. I am deleted. I am treated as if I am a criminal, and I am not accepted to embrace myself in digital spaces. Mainly social media, but again, we also can talk about MailChimp and these other, LinkedIn, and well, LinkedIn's like a social media. These other places too where sex workers are actively discriminated against. And so then I'm like, that's really interesting, considering that sex built the internet, but yet it is actively, consistently seemed immoral to celebrate it. Lucy, come here. I have a little puppy, y'all, so sorry about that. She's gonna be barking the whole time. So, and when I did that, I realized that there was a lot of innovation happening around the concept of sex and tech, but none of the people who were actually performing the labor behind it. And so there was legislation in America like FOSTA SESTA, which is like a whole thing that I can go on a tangent on, which I'm not going to right now, but if you all are interested, I can share some information about that. And I just was wondering why sex workers were the least protected in digital space. And so I started asking questions around privacy, security, and the people who are making this tech, and why is it that BIPOC sex workers, Black people who look like me and my experiences are having the worst time in this space. And so I remember my first experience was at the hackathon by Bryony Cole in New York City. I saw it on Eventbrite, and I was like, okay, this sounds really awesome. I absolutely love this. And I want to do it. So I went and I pitched an idea that was around sugar babies and seeking arrangements, and just kind of this idea of upward mobility for women in digital space. And I was denied because of legislation like FOSTA SESTA. I didn't win anything. And I was the only person who stood up and asked, what about sex workers? What about the people who are, navigating the labor behind this design of this technology? And I believe that fundamentally there was all these people were so excited about having all these things in digital space, but we're forgetting the actual people who were going to be doing this work. And people like me tend to be left out of that conversation around labor rights and what actually is a good workplace environment. So I inserted myself into a lot of shit. I stood up and I talked and I cared about what I was saying and the community that I represented, which was sex workers. And I pushed my way into a lot of rooms that people didn't necessarily want me to be in because I was fearless and standing up for what I believe in. And so, and this led to me just being more active with the women of sex tech. And from there, I was able to gain certain relationships that benefited me all around. And that has led to this position now as the president of Women of Sex Technology. And so I never doubted myself that design and empathy is just as important as knowing how to code, knowing how to engineer within the space that I was in. And I believed that I deserved a seat at the table. And I believe that Black women were fundamentally the part of building the culture of the internet. So we are damn sure going to continue to design it, impact it, and change it to shape our experiences, to shape what we want to see. And I don't think that I have to know how to code to do that. I'm going to learn. I'm going to, but I don't think that I have to have some degree in technology. And I think that's what's really missing from the field is this idea of implementing empathy, design, and having diversity representation. For us, by us, FUBU is one of my favorite brands ever, okay? So yeah, I would say that's kind of my journey where I started with something that's very niche in a sense where sex worker activism and sex tech activism, digital rights, virtual rights, labor, and grew it into what it is today. So I'm still pretty active in the sex work activism community, where I kind of do more digital advocacy work. I had the largest sex worker march in history in New York City this last August, where I'm the founder of the Sex Work Liberation, where my personal goal is to close the technological gap for sex workers. And helping understand how there's different sources of income and all those kind of different things. But anyway, so how did I get to where I'm at? It's just understanding what I was fighting for. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely have used activism to my advantage in this political climate to get my message across, to get what I feel is very important. You know, sex workers were left out of the Black Lives Matter narrative. And so I definitely made myself very vocal in that. And that allows me to be able to talk about sex tech and different technical things that I think are really important. So boom, I think that's about it. That's everything.
Thank you for that. Amazing. That was awesome. Taz, I guess if you wanted to talk about your journey and background and like any advice, and then maybe we can open it up into a Q&A.
Yes. Oh my God. I was here clapping out loud, but I was on mute just listening to you because I couldn't agree more with everything that you're saying about being non-technical. I also can't code. I also don't have a degree in this. I am finishing my degree right now after 10 years of not being in school. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I have student loans that I've been paying. And why am I paying for loans if I don't have anything coming out of it was my husband's justification as to me going back. But so like, I say that to say that you exactly what FX said. It's persistence, it's knowing you belong somewhere, and that message is so beautiful because that is 100% so much of the mentality that I had going into the security industry as well. I didn't do it from an activist route. And SX, you and I have to talk, girl. We got to talk about some shit after this because anyway. We like I just got off a call earlier. Anyway, we'll talk about that separately. But I got into security because I was broke as hell. I was working 3 jobs. I was in school at a torn ACL. I was working at I was doing an internship. I was like either babysitting at the time and then also working at a Michael Kors outlet mall. And it was like one evening that a woman came in. She looked fly. Her husband was carrying all of her bags. I wanted to be her, and she had money, you know, and I was very much attracted to the energy that she had. And she was really just a humble human as well. So she came to purchase a wallet. I was working on a very small commission rate, and I saw she had all these like Prada bags and Burberry bags, and I asked to like restart her experience to try to sell her more shit because I wanted to make more money and it was a quiet night. And she humored me, and the only reason she humored me is because she was in sales. So like the evening goes by, she ends up spending a lot more money. That was like the fattest commission check I ever got at Michael Kors, which it was still like, if I knew what I know now and allowed them to take advantage of that, the percentage, like you're so young and you just don't ask any questions. But anyway, that's a separate conversation. She told me she was in cybersecurity sales. I asked her like, what do you do and how do I do it? She gave me her card. Like I asked her for her information and she said, give me your email. But I was smart enough to know that nobody important will ever contact you if you want something from them. So I took her information and I emailed her literally every month for about like 4 to 5 months until she hired me. I even sent her a pack of now and laters. I don't know if y'all know what the candy now and laters are. And I said, Tina, do you want to hire me now or later? And that like really set it off. And I got a call like a week and a half after. I was in my last semester of school. And so I got that job and I was like, well, fuck it. I don't need school anymore. And so I quit. And here we are 10 years later after that experience. But that was like my unorthodox way, I guess, in getting into the security industry. I started doing account management and I was selling. In order to sell, I had to learn the product. And I wasn't a citizen at the time. So they had me sit on a different floor of the building and I wasn't allowed to sit with everybody because of the DoD contracts, of all of the government contracts of the government contracting firm. So I sat downstairs with all of the H-1B1 engineers that came through from India, all my cousins and homies, and we were just downstairs and it was the best experience. I was so isolated, and it goes back to the like, I mean, that's why I made Cyber Collective, because of such lonely, isolating experiences that I had in the security industry. But I like learned so much technical jargon. Whenever I did sales, I had engineers at my grip and I was like, yo, jump on this call with me real quick. And because I wasn't on the floor, like there are different levels of getting like, there are so many aspects of security and how you can engage in the security industry, right? And how you can place yourself in the way that the market really circulates. I worked at McAfee, so I was working like at a manufacturer. And so McAfee wants to sell their product. And in order to sell their product, there are different people that are involved in trying to sell it. And we had what you would call sales engineers. But because I sat on a different floor, I never had access to those sales engineers. And it was really tough to get the sales. So I had to like be scrappy and figure it out. And I realized that, you know, as my parents, as a Southeast Asian, they always wanted me to be a doctor, engineer, or lawyer. And I naturally found that engineering was in my blood. And I started doing technical stuff. I still have 0 certificates in security. I don't have my CISP. I don't have like any of those certs and stuff that a lot of folks think is so important to have. And like I said, I'm finishing my degree now. And that journey into sales really propelled me into then going into technical consulting. I knew very quickly, like, I want to do this. I'm good at it. And so I use my gift of gab and being able, like SX said, like, I felt like I belonged there. And so I pulled up a chair, you know, in the places that people so often, like, almost physically pushed me out of, like, certain rooms because I wasn't meant, like, they didn't want me there because I didn't have certain credentials. I can go on and on about those stories, but that's what kind of led me into security. And then with the stuff with Cyber Collective, and, you know, I think we have opposite stories in a sense. SX, where like advocacy was always such a part of my life. I'm a daughter of a freedom fighter, and I have always been very vocal about injustices and what they mean to me and how I speak up for them. And I'm Bengali too. Oh, okay. And so I lost my train of thought for a second. I like with Cyber Collective, the advocacy that we're doing right now and the space that we're trying to build and centering marginalized voices in this ethics dialogue as it relates to security and privacy. You know, I mean, is so necessary, right? But these places are just now, like, these little spaces are popping up very recently. Like SX said, like, it took 2018, like that. This is really fucking new in the security industry, that they're like allowing this openness, because it is such an elitist space. So I would say, like, the way to get in is truly through network, finding a sponsor in a sense, and staying resilient and knowing that you belong somewhere, and working towards that. But yeah, I'll go
Yeah.
ahead, Boo.
No, I would say the same thing as far as like the networking effect. Like I have not met y'all before, so I know this is a technical group, and I know that tech is very, very important. But the network effect is real. Showing up and saying, I'm not asking for permission to be here. I'm not asking you for permission. I don't care, actually. Like, I'm not asking you to be in this room. I'm not asking you to contribute to this conversation. I'm going to. And it's not necessarily bulldozing through if you're a little bit more introverted or things like that. It's more just, I'm not going to ask your permission. Do you think these white men are asking for permission? No. You think they're questioning themselves if they have the credentials or the credibility or the whatever to be there? No, they're just doing it. And like, something that just really gave me a lot of room to grow was like, anything we see in this world, tech, art, culture, anything, someone thought of it and then did it. That's it. Like, that is literally it. And so when you think about it that way, it's just kind of like, it's yet another space to be in. So I'll pass it back to y'all, but just like wanted to make that note. To talk to each other? Are we supposed to answer questions?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if Kat was gonna respond to that. But yeah, that was did you
my mouth was open, probably like I was about to say something, but I was just reading the chats because I saw them popping up while I was talking. But I am open to any questions and an open dialogue as anybody wants.
I think, Taz, since you have like experience working like in corporate and stuff like that, and you oversee these cybersecurity teams, so knowing that the folks in our cohort are going through this coding boot camp, and some of them do have an interest in cybersecurity, can you give them like any advice or like any maybe possible pathways that they could take to get into cybersecurity after learning something like Python or a full stack JavaScript or front end, and like what would maybe be the best avenue or next step for them after graduating from this boot camp in April?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when we talk about security, there are so many genres that live within security. It's hard to even like think about coding, right? Like the amount of languages that exist and the things that you can learn. Similarly in security, like I would start with looking up different organizations that sell security services. So let me back up really quickly. I work at a consulting firm, right? And Morgan Franklin Consulting basically works as a middleman between end users. So people that are perhaps not tech focused or don't have like large security teams, and we provide them security services. And then I come from a manufacturing background. So I worked at McAfee. I worked at a security technology company. And within this ecosystem, you have the product organizations, like orgs that create and make security shit and then try to sell it, right? Then you have the middlemen. They're called like resellers, consultants. They do services. They sell that stuff. They do integration services, or they do implementation, and they work directly, these resellers work directly with manufacturers. And then the resellers speak to the end users. So, it could go McAfee, Morgan Franklin, we want to sell to Dropbox, right? And we want to work with Dropbox. Dropbox probably and 100% has their own security team also. So when you're looking at where you want your career trajectory to go, you got to think about like, what part of this ecosystem do I want to live in first? I would recommend that. Do you want to be somebody that works on a team that sells services and you conduct red team engagements, incidents response, like different elements of security for a bunch of different clients? Or do you want to stay put in one place and just do security things for one organization, right? I would say consider like the way that I mentor people into the industry. I tell them to write down like what energizes you? Like what are your list of skills? Like forget technical stuff, you know, like what truly energizes you, what you want to do, and write all of that down. And then from there, think about different roles, and the way that you think about different roles, I highly recommend, like I'll say right now, GuidePoint Security is a really, I used to work there, their website covers like every part of cybersecurity you can possibly imagine. So looking up an organization like that, you can see the different genres of security that exist, the different services that exist, and even because they're trying to sell services to you, so you can see exactly like in detail what part of the security ecosystem do I want to be a part of. So I can put down some references too, and Allison, I can send you some text, but it's GuidePoint, like GuidePointSecurity.com. And then Morgan Franklin Consulting is another one. I can send some more links too, even though those aren't the sexiest places to work. I only recommend looking up those websites because they're showing you the overarching umbrella of what's possible, right? And starting there is really helpful. And then from there, looking at each genre. So there's application security, there's third-party risk management, governance, risk and compliance, there's incidents response. There are so many different threads of things that you can do, and all of them need engineering skills and coding skills, right? And so I think that's what people struggle with when they are in some sort of like boot camp or coming from an academic space. They're like, well, I don't know where to start. I want to be in security. And then you talk to someone in security and they're probably like, well, what do you want to do? You know? So that will help you navigate that a little bit. And I then recommend like, just think about, do you want to function as like an analyst, or there's so many questions that can come up, and as you look at those genres, I think you'll get a better understanding of what is available. And then truly, like the way that SX and I were talking about with that resilience, then all you do is look up that genre, look up every company that you think is dope and see if they have a team for that or the security platform for it. And I would connect with everybody on LinkedIn and send a message and tell them what you're trying to do. Well, depends if you are, I know there are some things going on in the chat and I'm not sure if I'm answering things, but I'll pause there and take any questions and see, like, does that make sense, the perspective that I'm coming from? And there are 1,000 different angles that you can approach this. That's just the way I've taught my mentees to go about it, because there are way too many avenues for me to be able to tell you that what option is best, right? Because you could do cloud security, you could do there's so many things, or you could go the route that SX did, right? Like, and do advocacy, and you can even do what I was trying to get people to do for me, which is sales engineering. You might be a super people person and you went through this boot camp and you kind of like, you did it, but you realized that I don't really like coding. I got a skill, but I really hate doing this. And that also happens. I know more people of that nature than I do that like actually really enjoy it, but some people do. If that's the case, there's so many ways to get into the industry, and the fact that you have the skill to do coding and writing script is phenomenal, but you don't have to live there if you don't want to. You know, it's a great thing to have on your resume. But if you want to do security awareness, you know, do security awareness and work towards that by understanding like what space in the ecosystem you want to start in. So I'll stop there and see if anyone has questions.
I kind of just threw it out there, like asking what people's experiences with their own security has been, because I think that's a good place to like start to kind of check in with yourself, where like, where have I been, you know, led afoul? And so I don't know if that is like a, just to be able to share some of that. Like my personal favorite situation was when my roommate got catfished on I think it was like Tinder, and she was like, look at this guy, he's so hot. And I was like, is he though? Because this looks like some stock photography. And sure enough, I did a reverse image search and was able to find very, very simply. And so who knows, she might have been talking to like a 10-year-old. Like, we don't know who she was talking to. She was very embarrassed, but at least I was able to stop her before she like sent him some booby pics or something. So that's my little
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and that's like where I've learned about security is from sex workers. Like, you want to meet a stranger to make some money? Guess who's going to know the best security practices for that and safety virtually? I think that's like reverse image search, Mr. Number, verify him, all of these different things we use as women, period, just to stay safe when dating online and meeting people online. And that's another thing too. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, I'm not technical, then I'm like, wait, I kind of am. Like, I know a lot of ways to do a lot of things online. And so, yeah, catfish is way too easy now. Anyway, let me not tell on myself. Was that any questions? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna be quiet. Let me mute myself.
If anybody has any questions, we still have about probably 10 minutes before people from the public start joining for the workshop. I have to use the restroom, so I'll be right back. But I don't know, Gina or Sean, if you could just take over real fast while I'm gone. I'll be back in like 1 minute.
I've dropped my Instagram, and if you guys want to send me a DM, if you don't feel like talking right now, at the end of the day, I totally understand that. Like, send me a DM, ask me a question. I share a lot of information there, sometimes, not always, about tech and security. And you can also send me an email with any questions that you have. And after this, I'm sure I'll text Allison all of the links that I'd recommended. I know, Georgina, you just asked a question to me directly for sales engineers, what resources I recommend. I look up what a sales engineer is first for security, and then look at the different manufacturers that exist, right? Some of the largest security manufacturers are like RSA, Symantec. I would recommend against working for a large tech security manufacturer because they're so antiquated. It's so fucking boring to work at those organizations. And most people at those organizations are racist as hell. They don't give a shit about you. And so I highly recommend starting with small companies and more startup organizations. Like, I have a bunch of friends that work at Duo Security. They're amazing. Okta is larger, more new, and like tech centric, like that tech culture, Silicon Valley culture they have, kind of. Keeper Security, like I would look up, like, I guess, even if you look up that, I hate pushing people here, but Gartner, if you go on Gartner.com, they have 2021's, or going into 2020, the best security, or like the leading security vendors, right? If you focus on the genres of security that are always here, or all genres of security are here to stay, but application security is huge right now, right? Incident response is huge. Third-party vendor risk is huge. Identity access management, because of everybody's unique identifiers and remote working, like that's a huge space as well. Again, each of those like acronyms that I just gave have an entire umbrella of shit underneath it as well, right? So definitely reach out to me if you have questions, because I know it's a lot to take in as it relates to security, because you can really just insert yourself on so many different levels. Yeah, for sure.
Is it possible for you to do like a resource guide, just a little quick summary of a couple of the companies and like big things to look out for, like you said, as far as something that might be obsolete in 4 years or something, just a quick pinpoint.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to send Allison some of these links and the different sources to start off with. I physically do not have the capacity to create like a resource content guide right now, just because of this January launch and all of the things that are going on in my life. But your next speaker that is going to be leading this workshop, she has an entire guide that she's created in how to get into security. And there's so many various resource guides that already exist. So I'm gonna drop some incredible Black women that I follow that have these resources. I Am Jihana is my boo. I love her. She has an ebook as well and would be someone great to follow. Cyber Farida, baby girl, just got submitted for fucking Forbes 30 under 30. She's killing it. She does security awareness and can definitely help direct you as well. She's always open to questions. We have Digital Empress. I know that she is joining later, so she would be one of the people that I recommend as well. And who else? Synology on Instagram. She has an organization called Cyber Pop-Up, and she has a lot of just experience on the enterprise side as well. So I would start there. Like, this information really exists. Just now that you are getting these names to follow, go on Twitter and then see who they follow, right? And then find those people and start digging into the resources that everybody shares, right? So as much as I will share as much as I can with Allison, but I just want to set realistic expectations that I don't have the bandwidth to make a resources guide, but I can definitely shoot her some of this information so that she can reshare with y'all.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. That's a great, that great point. And girl, maybe you do this research, make a resource guide yourself, sell it online as an ebook for $15 a pop. That's a business right there.
That's actually, that kind of gets back to what we had, suggested in digital journaling, right? And like talking about your personal experiences and being able to chronicle that in some capacity. So even being able to speak to, situations, people that you've reached out to, you don't have to necessarily name names, but you can always talk about those experiences because it is your space, your digital space. And obviously, as we talk to all these different people, like we're actually gaining a lot from other people's experiences and we can add our own to it. So like Taz said, if you do want to make some money on the side, that's a great way to do it by just saying, this was my experience in doing this. Here's where I clicked, and other people are going to, throw some money in the Cash App.
And you don't have to be an expert in shit. Like, that's the thing. There's this idea that you have to be already something in order to share that information, and that's not the case at all. So I would recommend like feeling confident, and even as you go through this journey, I just tweeted the other day, I'm like, keeping a process journal, which I guess is similar to a digital diary. I keep a business journal of all of the processes that I have, different days, like after meetings, how did I feel? Did this meeting energize me or not? And I've been recording this. I'm just like a journaler by nature. I started like journaling when I was really little because I didn't have friends. And so that was like my therapy growing up. But I got friends now though. I got friends now. Don't worry. I see all the sad pouty faces. But yeah, I was like in 4th grade, the like only Muslim kid in my neighborhood. I was lonely as hell. That's why I started smoking weed so early in my life. So many traumas because of loneliness. But if you guys follow me, you'll get my personality too. Just don't be shy about the way that I project information. But anyway,
As you are.
Process. I think I'm fun. I think I'm so funny. I think I'm one of the funniest people I know, but not everyone gets my humor.
Girl.
Process diaries are really helpful though. Like just write everything down. And then people write things down, and then you see all these old white dudes turn them into books, and I read those books and I'm like, this book is trash. And think about like if we just wrote things down and operationalized on them, what they could turn into. But anyway.
Okay, this has been really, really great. I'm so thankful that you both were able to join us tonight. And if anybody has any last couple of questions, we have 5 minutes exactly. We already have some people in the waiting room waiting to get in. So I will start letting them in exactly at 6 o'clock. And the rest of this time is yours if you have any last minute things. And then I guess I will email you all of the resources that SX or Taz send my way. And yeah, thank you.
If y'all don't have any questions, I'd love to just like give like a little insight into using activism and advocacy to further your career. The beauty of this of activism and advocacy is that with digital age, anyone can be it. Anyone can speak up or say whatever they want to do, about. And I think there's like really ways to be very strategic, especially when you're someone who's underrepresented within an industry. There's ways to be very strategic with what you talk about, what you write about, what you get in quoted in press about, etc., around how your work intersects with your personal beliefs. And this can be Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 or it could just be even smaller things around, the environment, around fitness, around almost any realm that you wish to be an activist around or advocate around. So don't downplay that. People are very much looking for strange intersections of work, and you can definitely play it up to your advantage. It's a great little resume builder, and volunteering and giving pro bono hours to organizations in need as well is a really low bar to entry way to practice some of the things you may want to be employed for in the future. So yeah, that's my little tech tip. That's all I got. I don't have anything else, but I really appreciate y'all accepting me and hearing me and listening to me today and welcoming me into the space. So thanks so much.
Okay, I'm gonna start letting people in, and then if you want to connect with Taz or SX, I think they dropped their information in the chat, and I will also send that your way tomorrow. So just be able to say thank you, thanks so much, thanks for joining us. You're welcome to stay or pop off. So we are going to get started with Taylor next, the Digital Empress. She will be teaching the CTF and how to add new experience to your resume workshop, and I'm super excited for this. So just gonna start letting people in now. And then I think Taylor, if you want to start at like maybe 5 after 6, or I don't know, just a little bit after 6, up to you.
Did I go ahead and share my screen, or?
Yeah. Let me see if how I do this. Do you have it, or is it not letting you share?
Hold on, let me try. Yeah, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, okay. Okay, you should be good now.
Okay. Okay, let's see.
Okay, so just in case anybody doesn't see the chat, Taylor, if you're going to be participating in this workshop, she's asking that you go to hackthisSite.org. It's in the chat, and quickly create an account for yourself. But also, if you just want to observe, you are totally welcome to do that too.
Okay, can you guys see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So for everybody who's just joining us right now, if you're going to be participating, please go to hackthisite.org is in the chat and create a account there to practice doing the CTF that Taylor's going to share with us later today. Okay, if you want to get started, whenever you're ready.
Okay, let me just get logged in quick. Let's see. Always. All right, so we'll just go ahead and start and then I'll just do this later. Okay, so hi everybody, welcome. And thank you for attending this workshop with me today. We're going to be doing CTS and adding new experience to your resume with me, the Digital Empress, aka Taylor. So yeah. Okay, so this is basically what the workshop is gonna, be about from start to finish. We're gonna go through who I am, what are CTS if you don't know what they are, the goals and strategy of this workshop, the hacking portion, and then we're going to talk about like how to add what we accomplished through the CTF to your resume, and then we're just gonna go about our merry way. So about me, I am originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But I am currently a resident in the DC or DMV metro area. I moved here after graduating high school in Louisiana. And then I moved here with family. They helped me enroll into Montgomery Community College, where I started my cybersecurity degree, undergrad in cybersecurity. And that's how I got introduced to cybersecurity in the year of 2015. So yeah, I started my tech career in 2015. I was working in a computer lab on campus, where I was like basically keeping logs of the computers and making sure they were up to date. And then through that time, I was getting like a bunch of tech internships and stuff like that. But during that time, I was working and going to school, and I eventually graduated with my AAS in 2017. Just explaining, like I started as a computer lab assistant, and then I just worked my way up. I was an intern at the National Institutes of Health as like a SharePoint security administrator. And then I went on to get my first full-time job as a help desk analysis, and then I worked my way to become a systems admin, and then I eventually became a cybersecurity engineer. But now I am a full-time entrepreneur, and I'm utilizing my experience from school, work, and now to help others get into the field. So my overall mission for the Digital Empress is to inspire others to have an interest in tech, to pursue cybersecurity careers. I want to teach others new hacking skills and how to secure themselves online. Show women in tech, especially Black women, that they can be winners in this field too, and become my own tech empire and run cyberspace. This is a cute quote that I found. Technology is best when it brings people together, by Matt Mullenweg, a social media entrepreneur. And now we're going to talk about CTF and what the heck they are. So CTF is basically, it's a synonym for capture the flag. What is that antonym? I think it's antonym, yeah. It's an antonym for capture the flag. And capture the flag events are security competitions that can literally be held by anyone. You can compete with a team or by yourself to solve computer security challenges and test your skills. Many beginners tend to do these to start building their penetration testing experience. I did a lot of these while I was in school. My school encouraged it. I think I've been to over like 10 CTFs, and every time I've like learned new hacking skills, and I use them to kind of like leverage myself in interviews. And my employers were always like so impressed with when I went to interviews and I had all these skills. And then how did they start? The very first cybersecurity CTF developed and hosted was in 1996 at DEF CON, a really big security event, if you don't know about that, in Las Vegas, Nevada. That DEF CON is the largest security conference in the United States, and it was officially started in 1993 by Jeff Moss. So the goals and strategy of what I want you guys to leave with after this CTF are, I want you guys to know what a CTF is and how to find them, how to analyze HTML and expecting page sources. You'll have some basic web hacking skills after this. You'll have cryptography knowledge, Unix commands, SSI server, or SSI server exploitation, and Unix directory structure. And you will know how to add like your new extracurricular activities or education to your resume once you get them. So yeah, first, what we're gonna do, I hope everybody has like a website, or if you want to participate, you have like a account with hackthisite.org. It's free. So yeah, everybody should go ahead and do that. I don't know if we could do teams or not. I think everybody, I don't know if you guys want to do teams, but I think everybody should just kind of like come up with their own team name or just use your own name. But if you want to do teams, just let me know. So step 3, when we get started, I'm going to give you guys like at least 5 minutes because like we're on a crunch time for each challenge. So I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes for 9 challenges so that you can kind of go through and try and crack the challenges as best as you can. And then Step 4, points will be given to everyone who has cracked the challenge. So if you do get the challenge, just kind of like let me know personally before the time runs out, and then like I'll log your points. And then step 5, we're going to, you know, add all the skills that you learned through this workshop to the resume. So yeah, do you guys have any questions before we move forward? I'm actually trying to see how I can see the chat. Oh, okay, let me see the chat here. Okay. Okay, so Solstice is having a hard time logging into the site. Can you let me know like what you're having a problem with? I can help you. I'm actually, let's see, confirm your email address. Yeah, you might have to confirm your email address. Yeah, you can use a different computer. You can use a different computer. Okay, so sometimes the email address that you use, like I know for Proton Mail, I have a Proton Mail account. Some of the challenges that I had to crack using my email, it would not send to my Proton email for some reason. So I had to use email. Yeah. Okay, and then for me, let me try. Okay, and so I'm gonna give everybody until like 6:15, and then we'll like start the challenge. Make sure everybody is in. Okay. Where'd my screen go? Okay, great, great. All right, so yeah, we're gonna wait until like 6:15, and then we're gonna start. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so the image validation doesn't work when I try. Okay, yeah. They're giving you an image validation? Hmm. Okay, great, great. Yes, if you don't already have an account, you have to register. It's free. Yeah. This is a great site that I recommend. Okay, awesome. A great site that I recommend people, you know, when they want to start getting confident in their pen testing skills or getting comfortable with hacking and hands-on. This is a really great site for that. I used it a lot when I was in undergrad in school. I played with it a lot. Okay, so one more minute and then we're gonna get started. Everybody's good, right? Everybody logged in? Yeah, everyone's trying to. Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and start. All right, so this is the first one called the idiot test. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys the challenge, and then I'm going to put on a timer, and you guys have to, like, you know, work the problem within that timer. So can everybody see the basic one test? Thumbs up if you can see, like, if you're participating, like your own basic one challenge. Everybody can see it. Okay.
Well, I can't see it. Where would I find it?
So on the site, on the left side, it has like a challenges section, and they have basic missions. If you go in the under challenges to basic
okay,
missions,
I see it.
yeah, it should be there.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let me put the time here. Okay, this is our timer. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer and give you guys 5 minutes to figure this one out. Ready, set. Oh, sorry, we restarted. Okay, and go. Oh my God, somebody already completed it. Awesome. I'm gonna help you if you can't figure it out because it is. Let's see. Oh, awesome. having me. All right, so that was the first challenge. Okay, why does my screen keep disappearing? Okay. Okay, so this was the first challenge, and okay, sorry about that, soul sister. So we have 9 people that got it right. Congratulations. Um, so this was the solution, or this is kind of like what you had to do to crack the challenge. Um, what you would do is you would click view page source, like right click and view page source, and you had to, well, find, I don't know if you guys know how to like find, command find on Mac, and I think it's control F on Windows, but you would find password and in the source, and then it would give you the password in the HTML structure. So that's how you figured that out. I'm trying to see, like, are my captions? No, I guess it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, that's how you would complete that. And then now we're gonna go into page 2. Is it gonna... Okay, this is section 2, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer again. Everybody ready for 2? Okay. And ready, set, go. Okay. Babe, I'm live. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I think we had 11 people complete that one. Awesome. It's more than the first one. So for this challenge, basically it was a given. Let me find it here. Yeah. So he didn't upload the file. It says network security, set up a password protection script, made it load a real password from an encrypted text file, but he forgot to upload it. So you could have just pressed submit and you were in the site. So that is how we got that solution. All right, and now we're gonna do the next one, and let's get it started. Okay, ready, set, go. Oh my God. All right. Okay, so we have 4 people that got that one right this time. This one was a bit harder, but basically what you had to do was find the password in the password.php file. So what you would do is view the page source on the challenge, like the challenge website. Search for password, kind of like what we did in the first challenge. You would search for password, and then you would find the specific password PHP file, which you can see here. And what you do is you copy this and you put it at the end of the URL of the hacking challenge. If that makes sense. Oh, I showed it here. Yeah. So you would put it at the end, and then it gives you the password. So yeah, that one's a bit harder, but good job to everybody who got it. All right, so let's go to challenge number 4. Hopefully we can get to 5. Hopefully we can get to 5. So I'm gonna restart this. And let's go. Challenge number 5 now. Yeah, what's your question, Akon or Akonde?
I'll unmute. So I had found the PHP, but I did open link, and then it said can't find file or can't open.
You put the PHP at the end of the URL, or how did you do that?
I highlighted it, and then I right-clicked and did open link, and then it gave me server not found. Oh, I don't know if it's because when it opened, it said www.password.php.
Oh, that's why. So we'll go back to it at the end. I'll show you. We'll go over it at the end.
Okay.
All right, so that was challenge 4. We have 4 people who completed it. So for this one, the password needs to be sent to an email through HTML editing. So as you can see here, if you just view page source or inspect the element again, it'll bring up the HTML. And if you type in password again, it will bring you to the section where like the submit form is. And what you can do here is it'll have his email, but what you're supposed to do is edit it, like switch it out with your email. And then you basically after you like hit enter or save it, you would click submit again, and then it would, or the password reminder, and it would say, instead of his email, it would send to your email. So as you can see here, I switched it to my email address, and then it sent the password that way. So yeah, that is challenge number 4. I think we have time for one more challenge. I expected 9, but I don't think we're going to get to that because I do want to let you guys ask me questions. But yeah, we're going to go to number 5, and then we're going to wrap this up. All right, so this is challenge number 5, and we're going to go ahead and get it started. Okay, and let's go. Okay, that is the last challenge we're gonna do for tonight. We had 6 people that completed that one. Awesome. Um, so yeah, so this was, hold on, that is not, let's see. Okay, so this one was very similar to the last one, how to crack it. As you can see, like we're doing basically the same thing. You would go in, inspect the page elements, change your email or change his email to your email, and it was going to send you the password to your email instead of his email. And yeah, so yeah, it's about to be 6:50, and I want to let you guys have time for questions. So these are the rest of the challenges. I'm gonna send this out to Allison just in case you guys wanted to go back over and see how to crack them yourself. So now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys how to add these new skills to your resume. So I basically just typed up I typed up a section here. You can kind of label this section as education. You can add it to your education section, or you could add like an extracurricular section and put all like your extracurricular like tech events, CTF events, networking events to that. This shows employers that you're not just kind of going to school or a boot camp. You're also like taking the initiative to go out and further your education and get more skills. So for this one, if you wanted to add it to your resume, I typed in what I would put in on my resume to show like I've been to a CTF event. So WITPGH CTF workshop completed on December 3rd. You guys learned basic web hacking and how to test the security of web applications. You utilize inspect and view page source to analyze the components of HTML and how to spot exploits in its structure. You've exploited, well, we would have exploited an encryption tool to crack a password using the ASCII table. You would have gained understanding of the Unix command line and how to use it to exploit web applications and gain access. And if we got to it, we would have performed SSI server exploitation using knowledge gained from the Unix command line.
Okay, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Okay, so let's see. So yeah, so we have 10 minutes left, so we can answer some questions. Actually, oh, sorry. So this here, that's an article that I added to kind of give you explanations from the website on how to solve or give you hints on how to solve each challenge. And thank you guys for attending this workshop. Here's some more resources, where to find CTF challenges, my ebook. I'll send all this to Allison if you guys want it. Additional resume help and cybersecurity internships if you need help with that. This is all my social media. You can find me everywhere, basically Digital Empress. Easy to find. And yeah, these are my email address and my website where you guys can contact me, find out more about me, sign up for a consultation call with me, all of that. So yeah, if you guys want to answer or ask me any questions for the remaining of the time, I'll be happy to do that. Let's read in the chat and see if there's anything. Let's see. How are we supposed to change it because it's not letting me? Okay, so I'll give you guys an example here. Actually, let me pull up it here. We'll go through. Okay, so this is one of the sites. So you would right click, and I usually do inspect because it's like it just pulls it up right here. But instead of just clicking inspect on the page, you want to right click inspect on this button, send password to Sam, and it will bring you right to where you need to go. And so when you open up this part, when it opens up this part, you can just double click it and it will let you edit it that way. And just do digitalempress@gmail.com. And then click enter. Yeah. And then you just hit the button and it shows you that it was sent successfully to your email. So that's how you edit that. And it just sent to my email. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna send these slides to Allison. I'll give her any additional information. If you guys need it, just reach out to her and I'll give it to her. Great, I'm glad you guys had fun. What are some challenges you had when you first started learning? I'm a bit of a newbie. So some of the challenges that I had was, it was just so much information. Like I just felt like I was being bombarded and flooded with just so much. So what I did was in school, because I was also in school, but then like I wanted to like, I felt like I was so behind and I didn't have any hacking or any type of like skills. So I just went and like outside of school, I just like researched everything and started, I found this site and other sites to like hack online. I watched a bunch of movies and documentaries, and then I just, from there, I like created my own curriculum outside of school to like go through and study, just to kind of keep me on track, because people come into this field and I get it, like you're just overwhelmed because there's so many different avenues and skills and stuff like that. So that was one of my biggest challenges. Let's see. Yes, you guys will have access to the slides. I think you guys can reach out to Allison. Yeah, somebody posted it, hi at witph.org. Oh, awesome. They recorded the website. I mean, the challenge. But yeah, my piece of advice for any of you who are just starting out in cybersecurity, especially if you are women, like a lot of us are in here, you will get discouraged. I was very discouraged when I started school, and there was no girls in the classroom. It was just me at one point. Just keep going, because it's beneficial for you because you're the only girl in class, so that gives you the opportunity to stand out and really, show to your professors or employers that you're really serious and passionate about your job. What's a good entry-level cybersec position to apply to? I would start with internships. I started with the internship, and it really helped catapult me, especially because I was in the government and I had to get a security clearance. It helped catapult me into like all my other jobs and securing my other jobs. Intro list of resources you use to make your own study. Just some good suggestions. Okay. Yeah, so I could do that. I'll share that with Allison. I have like a great list of resources that you can use. I also have a blog with a bunch of resources. I have my YouTube that I share a bunch of resources. I'm always giving resources. I have an email list. I'm always sharing email resources on my email list. You can find that on my website. Were there any actual differences between? Yeah, so there really wasn't a difference. Some of these challenges, they'll have like the same type of concept. It'll just be something different. Like they'll take something away. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. There's my website. They'll take something away. So like they'll take a button away and they'll be like, oh, so you have to find the other way of how to crack this challenge. And it's kind of frustrating. But yeah, I think you guys will have access to all these slides. I have like all the pictures and solutions and how to add this to your resume on there. And yeah, that is all I have for tonight. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. This is how I keep myself entertained and interested in cybersecurity. No problem. Thank you guys for coming. No problem, no problem. Great, great. Thank you guys so much. I'm not sure if Allison or, yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, Taylor, for this. This was really great. And I can tell, like, I mean, from the chat, everybody really enjoyed it and definitely learned something new. And I think this is a great way to share with everybody about how we can help kind of shape their resumes for interviews and any type of other activity or workshop that they participate in. I think you all should definitely utilize that same method that Taylor shared in the slide to add it to your resume. I think you should add everything to your resume. I add everything to my resume, every single thing. So it may not seem like a big deal, but you learned something. So it's pushing you forward in your career and is something that you can talk about in interviews or with people who potentially want to hire you or recruiters or whatever. So definitely follow Digital Empress, follow Taylor on YouTube. She puts out a lot of great content talking about careers in cybersecurity, how she studies, her study habits, and you can also, I think, you like hack on YouTube, right? Sometimes people can just go on there and watch you study. So I think it's a great way to do that along with her if you need a study buddy right now during the pandemic. But yeah, this was awesome. So thank you so much. If anybody has any last minute questions, I can take that. I'm going to stop the recording right now. And